Hey, my name is Calvin Waite. I trade crypto for a living, and it's time to turn on your inner nerd. Okay, so first off, I am not a licensed financial advisor. I don't have any licensing. So this channel has to be taken as watching Calvin trade, his ideas, how things work. So one other thing, this channel is not affiliated with Humble or Blocks or anything else. This is my personal project, and I think there are people that will benefit from it, so that's why I'm doing it. Happy Monday, everybody. My video is coming out a little bit late. Had a lot of stuff going on this morning, but we have a lot to talk about. So very interesting. Last Saturday, we projected that Bitcoin would close around 21,500, and yesterday's close was $21,517. So we hit close by about $17, which was pretty cool. So everyone's looking at the weekly close, and we had an ugly close. So this is how support and resistance work. Support happens by, so if you butt up against a resistance, there's usually two ways we get through it. One way is we close at or near the switch, and then next candle we sneak over it. So it takes two candles to get across a support or resistance, or it takes one big move. It takes a lot of pressure, a big move to push through these. What you rarely see are tiny little candles that just kind of sneak up through, sneak down through. If there's any emotionality at all around a place, around a support or resistance, it's going to take a lot of effort. So like this is an example of how it usually does not happen. A little sneak down, a little sneak up, a little sneak down. That means that there's no emotionality around this this point. So but yeah, so any big moves, like breaking through the 100 was a big deal, and so we find a big candle that gets us through there. Breaking through the 200 is a really big deal, so we had a giant candle that pushed us down through there. And then we had this, resistance on the monthly for quite a few, so we had lots of touches. And then it took us a big candle to get through the monthly, and then we stopped right at the 200 week, and it's just kind of how this thing works. So in order to get back above the 200, we're going to need a weekly close at or near the 200, which is 23,000, or we're going to need a giant week where we have this monster thing. But looking at this chart, is this bearish? That's the question. We're on the weekly chart. We had a push down. We had a sideways bear flag, another push down. This is either a bear flag or we have established a higher low, and we're changing momentum. There's one reason why we're changing momentum, and that is that the slope from April and ending in May, the slope of this downward movement has been crossed. So this tells us that there is a change in momentum. So the fact that we got above this line means that our downward momentum is not as intense. So we've gone downwards, we've had a sideways consolidation, and now we're moving sideways a little bit. And until we see closes below here, I'm kind of thinking that this bottom line is the bottom of our bear flag. And so if we get a close below pretty much 20, if we close below 20,000, it's not going to look very good. But there's a lot at work here because the funny thing about charting and using your trends and your kind of your knowledge of candlesticks and all these things, they all make sense in a really emotional market. When we have big whales making large moves and pushing prices around, they don't have a lot of respect for the rules, you might say. So that's why we're keeping our positions small and doing other things, because in theory, trading is not too hard. In practice, as long as it obeys the rules, trading is easy, but that doesn't happen in practice. So in practice, we have to plan for other situations that might arise. So having this giant move all the way through that kind of pushed us through this area in a matter of 10 minutes a couple of days ago, that's not something that there's a lot of advanced warning on. We closed at a really weird spot. It had nothing to do with any prior support or resistance. It was just a really unusual, which means man-made, kind of a small group trading kind of created this close. And this is I'm talking about the 19th of August, when we closed our candle at 20,800. So today we did a little so the past couple of videos we talked about, is this move something to sell on? And we did a little analysis and we said, no, usually a giant candle like this is going to be met by a little bit of a bounce. And what I'm fully expecting, so this is my opinion, I believe we will go sideways for a little while and then we'll have another opposite candle to this. That's what I think will happen. And so for today being a little bit of a down day, it's not that big of a deal. And in fact, even if we got a little bit below this, it wouldn't be the end of the world. So I'm still not convinced that we're going into unusual lows. The market is, I feel like this was our bottom. And so what I think whales and market manipulators will do is they will do what they did in the last two cycles, and they will try to scare us. They'll push prices down and see if they can get the loudest bears to scare the last of the holders out, and then we start moving forward. But I just see a lot of movement down, and then I see some movement sideways. So I'm seeing a decrease in our downward pressure, and things are kind of going sideways and consolidating. It takes time. It takes time for bottoms to establish, to bleed out what they're going to bleed out. We're already in a great spot for the 50-day. Our 50-day moving average is at 22,300, we'll say. And our 100, it's taken us a long time, but the 100-day moving average is now at 24,000. So when the 50 and the 100 get really close, when they finally made it through and consolidated, that's when we can start expecting larger moves. So we're getting a little closer. Our 200 is way up here at 32,000. And so the 200 has less play. But when the 200 moves down to our trading range and we start thinking and looking forward to a golden cross, that's when markets are going to be heating up. So having, every little day that we get the 200 a little bit further, a little bit lower every day. I mean, it's dropping, let's see, it's dropping about $80 a day. So it's going to take a little while before we go from 32,000 down to like 23 or 24,000. But it'll get there, and we're just going to be patient. When it finally gets down a little bit lower, that's when our market changes. Everything's going to change. So one final note, I was going to explain to you why I believe the bottom is in. And I'll just head over to Bitcoin. I'm looking at the weekly chart, and I want to bring up the RSI. So the RSI is usually, it has kind of helped us find the bottoms of our market. In 2014, once our RSI broke below the 30, see this purple band goes from 30 to 70, and on a weekly scale, this is just a giantly important indicator. And we only dipped below the 20 once in 2015. It was in January of 2015. We hit an RSI of 27.54. The week before we were at 31, and the week after we were at 34, almost 35. So only a single week at 27 on the RSI, and that was our absolute bottom in that bear market. So we had a really low wick, and then we attempted it 4 times. We had a scare once, a scare twice, and then 3 times. So this was so in other words, including our bottom, we were attempted to be scared out of our position 3 other times after the bottom, and then we took off. And so there was a lot of emotions going on at the bear market of 2014 and 15, but it was that RSI that really called the bottom. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at. In 2018, in December of 2018, our absolute bottom was our RSI below the 30 again, 29.04. The week before, we were at 30.44. The week after, we were at 36.10. So we had this 1 week. So this is our one candle where the bottom was shown. And the only other closest day we were is at 31.45. So we just had that one day, that 1 week, and we were, that was the bottom. And then how many times were we scared out of this position? There was one attempt. We dropped pretty good one other time, and then we were off. But see, these are like a month and a half to 2 months later that they tried to scare us out of the position. From the first drop to the final attempt, this is a period of 224 days. So that is months and months. It's 2/3 of a year, So these bear markets, they take a while. You have to wait for the consolidation to happen. We're brand new to this. Like, our first attempt to scare us out of our position is happening as we speak. But we've been at this we're on day 70. So we're doing it. We're getting there. We could double this before we start seeing some real moves. But back to the RSI, the week before we had our RSI below 30, we hit 31.05. And then the longest candle, which I think is the bottom, was an RSI of 26.08. Then we had a 27.07, 25.72. So this was our lowest. But see how the bottom was already in, even though we went lower on the RSI. So once we hit below 30, we're there. Can we do it again? It would be the first time in history. This is extremely unusual. We've never spent this much time below the 30 on the RSI ever. But the RSI is just a momentum indicator. It just says how many red candles in a row have we had, and how intense are they. So that's sort of just a measurement of that. So if we were to get another move of the RSI down into the 30s, that would be pretty unusual, pretty intense. Also, the one thing that's different this time around is that we have our all-time high from 2017 that's still on our chart. We had a candle close below and then a candle back up, which makes this support. So the all-time high has been support for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and then we lifted off, and now we're kind of floating back. a wick down to touch this, it would be, we would have to move down to like 19,700. So we could touch it again if we wanted to, but I just feel like I think it's pretty strong support and we're still moving sideways, but we have to plan for everything. We just have to do the best we can, but the charts say, in my opinion, that the bottom is in and we are in consolidation stage. We're moving sideways, trying to figure out where our bearings are. When we have manufactured drops like this, it just takes more time, but it's all part of the thing. We just have to be patient. So that's a pretty solid update on kind of my thoughts on Bitcoin this time around. We're in the yellow zone because we're below the 50 again. So we're just waiting. A move above the 50 would be pretty solid. It'll take a while for that to happen. So quick couple of thoughts on Ethereum. So even though Ethereum did have a massive drop and it brought us through the support at 1726, we did land on our line, on our downward sloping line, and then we've been crossing it for the past few days. But our support has been on the 100 and the support has been on the 50. So we've had 3 days now where we have found support on this combination of 150, which is the rule. This is what we're supposed to do. It's picture perfect. When we come up above the 100, we're going to usually come back and find either the 100 or the 50 as support. And we're doing exactly that. So Ethereum looks fine. Like I'm really impressed with the strength that Ethereum is showing. The structure of this chart is almost better than a lot of the other alts. So Ethereum looks pretty good. It just needs to hold this line. If we hold it, we're in great shape. If not, we've got more consolidation and more to work with, a little more patience. But yeah, from a temporary bottom, it looks pretty good. Obviously Bitcoin throws a lot of weight around, so if Bitcoin drops, that can take us with it a little bit. But most of my position is in Ethereum instead of Bitcoin. So this looks really nice. Last few updates. I did exit my position on Optimism. And the reason why is because I don't trade on Sunday. And I could see that we had found support on the 50 once, twice. And when we start doing this behavior, it looks a lot like this 50 is going to hold. And we may be turning back up. And I figured it wasn't worth... a short is usually more risky than a long. So I decided to take profits, and I made 134% gain on that position. It's the only one that looks good right now. There's a lot that are in the red, but we're just waiting through, waiting for the bottoms to show up, and we're still looking for good entrances. I haven't seen anything really solid, but I've been looking at quite a few. Those that have exited the red zone, like Zcash, Dogecoin is a little red today, but we have a couple of coins that have found the 50 as support, and so these ones are looking pretty good. I ended up taking a position in Flow because of that as well, and we'll kind of see how they play out. Oh, okay. Last thing. I wanted to tell you guys that the subscription channel is happening this week. So you will be able to see my actual trades, and we will go through how I trade, how I take my positions, the percentage of my portfolio, all those details, all the things that nobody shows you, and it'll give you a chance to support that and learn from me there. So it's not all roses and everything. When it's good, it's unbelievable. When it's bad, you just have to stomach through the hard times. It just goes back to the theory versus practice. The theory is rock solid, and in practice, you have things that are difficult. And so this channel is all about moving away from the people that only look at the best situations and show you both, so that you can kind of figure out how to deal with both and how to plan for both. It completely changes the game on how to trade. So that is happening soon. Once it's up, I'll start adding that to my intros, and we'll get you guys over and you can check it out. Anyway, it's a great week. I think there's some good things that are going to happen this week. Today obviously is a pretty red day across the board, but I don't mind a sideways consolidation on Bitcoin, and Ethereum is looking like it's found a bottom. If we do a little more sideways, it'll give us a chance to start moving up, and we could have a pretty sweet week. Okay, we will catch you all tomorrow. Thanks for making it to the end of my video. So just remember, keep your trade small, be patient, wait for the trade to come to you, don't get caught up in all of the hype. You guys are gonna kill it.